Councillor Perks to speak.
Thank you, Speaker. Members, it's a bad plan, the Scarborough subway extension. It's a bad plan. It's taking an awful lot of money to attract a very small number of new transit riders. It's taking an existing 6-stop line and replacing it with a terminus and a connection. So actually, no, it's not a one-stop subway, it's a negative 4-stop subway. We're actually losing 4 rapid transit stations in Scarborough. And as a result of that, as you heard from staff from the TTC, many people in Scarborough will actually be spending more time on the bus. No one is going to spend less time on the bus. Councillor Shan raised an interesting point. Perhaps we could get some, express buses. Well, we could do that right now. We could send express buses right now to the RT. We could do it in a minute. You don't gain a single minute of saved time for Scarborough residents who are currently taking bus. Not 1 minute. You add the sum, you don't subtract from anyone. But when we say it's a bad proposal, we fall into a trap in the way people think about things, which is it's either good or it's bad. We forget the scale of how bad this is. I don't think human beings are terribly well equipped to understand the difference between 1 million and 1 billion. 1 billion just sounds like the next biggest thing. Let's actually take a few examples to put it in context. And I was just speaking with Councillor Nunziata. In a few weeks, she's opening up a community centre in her ward. She told me she's been working on it for 20 years. Community centres cost about $30 million, $35 million each. This thing that we're considering here is worth 100 community centres. We could have 2 in each ward and have a few left over for the mayor to decide where they go, and we would spend less money. Let's put it also in the context of this argument that the City of Toronto keeps delaying and not building transit. And think about context and scale as we do that. Right now, the largest construction project in the country is the Eglinton Crosstown. It's the biggest single investment in transit in my lifetime. It's a fantastic thing. It will transform the city. And it will cost $5.2 billion and have 26 stops. That's the same order of magnitude as we're discussing right now in a proposal that will reduce the number of rapid transit stations in Scarborough by 4. We shouldn't be calling it the one-stop subway, we should be calling it the negative 4-stop subway. Or if you want to think some more about context, think about how much of a kerfuffle we got into at the end of the budget. We wasted an hour while lawyers and financial planners and clerks and members of council tried to figure out how to close a $2 million hole in the budget. $2 million hole. Brought the whole city to a halt for nearly an hour as we tried to solve that one problem. Well, we could spend 1,500 years making that mistake and not add up to the size of the mistake we're about to make now. The sheer scope of how big this decision is means that we do need to have regular updates. And all of you who are about to vote in favor of it, please be mindful of the fact that you are voting to tell staff to come back and bring us a report so we can debate this again. That's just how it goes. Any person on this council who claims that we've debated a lot of times and should never debate it again is misleading Torontonians about how we come to these major infrastructure decisions. You have some motions in front of you that say, as we look at this enormous choice, this is the biggest choice we will make on this council in this term. As we make that choice, let's make sure we understand its value for money. And you have a number of motions in front of you that are aimed at doing precisely that, saying, I want to do my due diligence. I want to represent the single biggest expenditure we're going to make this term to my constituents with the full knowledge that I had all the facts. And if you vote against the motions that are asking for us to have that information in front of us, You are voting against the interests of the people you represent.